Yo, what up? How you guys doing out there today? This is your boy RotoBeast. I'm here with my boy Jeremy. We're here to present you the DFS Daily Show for Thursday, August 13th. If you're new to this channel, please make sure to click the subscribe button below. This is where you can watch all of our NBA, MLB, NFL, NHL, PGA, NASCAR. Hey, we got it all. Make sure to check out the site, DFSCheatSheet.com. Take advantage of our promo code that we got going on right now. Use promo code RESTART2020. You get everything that we got, optimizer, cash lineups, all of our content for one price tag, $100. Use the promo code RESTART2020. And hey, man, how you doing out there, Jeremy?
I completely not used to that. You just fired them off, man. It's a lot.
Hey, I always just talked about, the couple that we have, and I figured, hey, man, I got to step my game up. We got a lot more. We got to make sure that everybody knows what we got on the site for sure. So, yeah, man, real quick, we're just going to make this a short, quick video. It's a small NBA slate. It's a small MLB slate as well. We're just talking about it right now. You got you got NBA, 5 games. You got 3 teams that absolutely have to win in Memphis, in Phoenix, in Portland. Those are the 3 teams that I'm really going to be focusing on today. All those teams are actually playing for something. You got Milwaukee. It's not going to have Giannis. They really have nothing to play for. It's time for them to get their best players some reps. Dallas, they're already locked into that. What is it, the 9th seed going against the Clippers. So they want to kind of get healthy, get ready for that series. They don't have much to play for. San Antonio, Utah. Utah's already locked into their spot. They're a little bit banged up. I don't expect them to really play too many other guys. Brooklyn has been basically terrible going into the bubble. They're missing half of their actually players that can play. Portland must-win game. I expect Portland to roll over Brooklyn here. Last but not least, you got Orlando, New Orleans. I guess Orlando is playing for something. They possibly can move up in seeding. New Orleans is out.
No, they can't.
No, they can't. They're locked in as well.
Brooklyn, here's the joke, right? Phoenix, Portland, and Memphis. They've got – this is what I don't get. Portland's 34 and 39. Phoenix and Memphis are 33 and 39, and they're both playing their last games today. So, in the loss column, they could all end up with 39 losses if they all win today. But in the win column, Portland's going to have one more win than them, which I just don't – I don't see how Portland gets the extra game, right? The funny thing is you're looking at Brooklyn – 35 and 36, so banged up. Nobody's been hit harder by coronavirus than them. They're terrible. And these three teams in the West, 2 of them are going to miss out over Brooklyn. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Right. Yeah, no, for sure. Honestly, it's crazy the seedings out there in the East. The East is don't get me wrong, got a couple really good competitive teams out there, but then the bottom end of the playoffs out there is kind of a little bit of a shit show. It is what it is.
You're looking at what? So it's locked up. Milwaukee, Orlando, Toronto, Brooklyn, Boston, Philadelphia. No Ben Simmons there. The only competitive series in the first round is Miami, Indiana. That's it.
Right. That should be a good one too.
And today, I got to tell you, bro, I know you're focused on the 3 teams in the West that have to win, but I like the fact that Karis LeVert is 8,300 in this spot. I like the fact that Jared Allen is 7,200 in this spot. At the end of the day, bro, if it's me against you and I can keep you out of the playoffs or you can keep me out of the playoffs, you got nothing else to play for. I want to hang that L on you today, right?
Why not? The last game for a few months. For these teams that aren't going into the playoffs, it was kind of, in my opinion, like a little bit of a tease. Like, okay, you're going to play 8 games after not playing for, 4 or 5 months, and hey, you're done now. Quick little 8 games, you kind of move on. But yeah, you ready to go?
Yeah.
I kind of want to move on to MLB now. Just to quickly just briefed over NBA. Like I said, I'm about to do NBA lines shortly. I just kind of wanted to touch it and just kind of get your.
This is the worst MLB slate that's been put, or slates the way they've been broken down. So from a scheduling standpoint for Major League Baseball, this for daily fantasy purposes, this translates to the worst probably DFS day I've ever seen in the 5 or 6 years I've been doing this. It's a terrible, and then it didn't get broken up any better. For some reason, on FanDuel, the Dodger Padre game is left off the main slate, and I believe it starts exactly at the same time the Chicago Milwaukee game starts, if not within 20 minutes of it. So why they left that game off, no rhyme or reason there. So you have to, if you want it to play any of that, you got to play the 2-game late slate. This is not a cash slate. That's why I'm mentioning it now. Like, this is not a cash game slate, in my opinion. This is a tournament slate, and move on.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, quickly, let's just swing through. Let's spend a couple minutes to swing through each game, just kind of break it down real quick. Get out of here. Short, simple video. Just kind of touch on everything for the day. First game we'll quickly talk about. We got Baltimore going into Philadelphia to face the Phillies. This game has a really, really high probability of a delay or a rain out today. But with 4 games, you're probably going to want to take a little bit of a risk in GPPs.
If you want to, since we only got 4 games on this main slate, if you want to take the bats on both sides, I'll take the pitching on both sides. We'll just break it down like that and move on.
Okay, yeah, perfect. I mean, you got Philadelphia throwing Jake Arrieta out there. On the Baltimore side of things, I don't really have crazy interest. If you're going to look at a couple guys, you could look at possibly a couple guys on the top of their order. Alberto Santander. Jose Iglesias, he's not a typical guy batting in that 3-hole. He doesn't really give you too much power upside. He's kind of more of just a singles hitter. Ruiz gives you a little bit of power upside, and Nunez as well. Me personally, I'm just going to be honest. I'm not really interested in Baltimore. I do really like the Philadelphia side of things, though. I think that you're looking at all these guys. McCutchen, Segura, Harper, Real Muto, Gregorius, even Jay Bruce, even Neil Walker. Bare minimum price tag at the bottom of this order. I really do like this Philadelphia team. Like I said, this game as a whole is scaring me with the possibility of a delay or rain out. But I do like Philadelphia. They are one of the better teams on this slate when it comes to hitting. I think you just try to get stacks every which way and kind of fill it out that way.
Man, I don't like the rain. I don't like that it's a slate but it's a tournament slate. So before I get into pitching to piggyback off that, I think you have to get some exposure to this game because of the fact people will lean, like you're saying. People don't like to get burned, and it's the first game on the slate. There's going to be no late swap with that if it does rain out. So I think you get some exposure to it, but I'm with you. It's a scary game. Arrieta, like you mentioned, he goes for Philadelphia. The problem with Arrieta seems to be over the last 2 seasons a glaring problem with all of the guys who pitch in Philadelphia. It's they struggle against left-handed bats. And here's another guy. You look at the season. He's got an ERA right under 2.5 for the season. But against left-handed bats, he's a 308 ISO against him. He's dominating righties with a 148 ISO against them and a 32.1 K percentage. So you flip that around, 308 ISO to lefties and only a 7.7% K percentage to lefties. He's struggling with lefties. And again, just like we mentioned yesterday and we mentioned the day before, with Baltimore, it's the left-handed bats. It's Dwight Smith Jr., it's Ruiz, it's Santander, the switch hitter. Those 3 guys, if you're going to stack this game, I would get exposure to this game again for if there was no rain, because of the fact Arrieta is one of the better pitchers on the slate. Glasnow hasn't pitched well, and nobody's really comfortable with Darvish anytime you roll him out. But that's Arrieta. On the flip side of it, look, there's a gas can going out there for Baltimore. I don't want anything to do. I'm not going to go any further than that. But Eshelman, 333 ISO against him last year, a 200 ISO against right-handed bats, 436 WOBA to lefties. Bryce Harper, Jay Bruce. They've loaded that lineup today. You got Harper, Didi, Bruce, Hazley. All these guys are left-handed bats. I want nothing to do with Eshelman on this slate at all.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Moving on to Tampa Bay and the Boston game. I actually like this game. I think it's going to be one of the better games on the slate. I think it's going to be pretty fun. You got Boston going against Tyler Glasnow, who is actually a pretty decent pitcher. So in this game, I'm going to favor the Tampa Bay Rays bats going against this guy, Kyle Hart. I think that for Boston, it's going to be more of a bullpen game for them. We're looking at the same cast of characters on the Rays. It's Jose Martinez, Diaz, Renfroe, Lowe, Adames. I played a lot. I played a lot of Tampa Bay yesterday, and they definitely didn't let me down. And I'm going to go right back to the well. I definitely think that you stack Tampa Bay in a game that's probably going to be a bullpen game for Boston and a pretty good hitting park. So definitely like the Tampa Bay side of things. Glasnow, like I said, is a good pitcher. Boston, they do have some good hitters, though. I think that I like Boston. I mean, I like Tampa Bay side of things with the bats, but I think that Boston will go on the lower end of things when it comes to GPPs as far as their ownership, because Glasnow is one of the better pitchers on the slate. I mean, I think you can still get some of these stacks, man. We're looking at Verdugo, Devers, JD Martinez, Mitch Moreland, Pilar started the season on fire. I think you could even start it at the bottom and round it back up with Jose Peraza, who started the season pretty good as well at a bare minimum price tag of $2,300. I think that Boston will be a contrarian GPP play. But if I did have to choose, it would be Tampa Bay bats for me in this particular matchup.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. The problem with Glasnow is he's run into hard contact, and
Right.
he's run into hard contact this season. And look, it's Justin Verlander is the guy you have to compare Tyler Glasnow to. When guys throw hard, the hard contact rate is going to be up, just for the simple fact that it's coming in hard, it's going to go out hard, right? So, with Glasnow, I think that this is just a little bump in the road. Let's not forget the guy. He did injure himself last season. They shut him down. I think that he's just kind of getting back into things. A very long delay with COVID. He's got to kind of get back into it. I don't think Glasnow is as high owned as maybe Arrieta will be, but then again, you've got weather, so but Arrieta could be lower owned. But you've got the name of Glasnow. He's going against Boston. It's been 2 straight games where Tampa Bay's put up a ton of runs against Boston. I get it. I'm not comfortable with it, is what I'm trying to say to you, right? Like, Glasnow doesn't make me feel comfortable. I would much rather do what you said, and I would much rather stack Boston against Glasnow and just use you. That's why I'm telling you, this is an ugly freaking slate. This is not a go all in slate for by any means. To me, the best way to play this slate is to take all 8 teams and build stacks, intermixing all 8 teams, and just see how the chips fall. That's how I'm gonna play it. Because I'm not comfortable with Glasnow. I'm not. And then on the flip side of it, Kyle Hart, I mean, this guy's a 19th round draft pick. He's a 19th round draft pick. He's making his major league debut tonight, 9-7 in AAA with a 3.86 ERA. He was in 18 games. He pitched 100 innings and gave up 91 hits. So, 91 hits in 100 innings, and he gave up 43 earned runs. You can compare AAA to Major League Baseball last year, and not this year because it's not there, but they used the same baseball last year. I made a big deal of that because guys were coming in, especially from the hitter standpoint, and were having immediate success in Major League Baseball. And that's because they were using, for the first time ever, AAA used the same baseball that they did in the major. So, we'll have to see. This game to me has 10-8 written all over it.
Yeah, I definitely think that this game is going to kind of have some runs. Next, we'll talk about Pittsburgh and Cincinnati, man. I mean, I think this is another game where, you're in Cincinnati, really good hitting ballpark. I'm going to favor the Cincinnati Red side of things right here. I'll start with them. We're looking at Castellanos, Votto, Suarez, Winker, Senzo. I think all those guys, that heart of the order is a really good stack right there. You can even throw in the guy Akiyama, batting in the leadoff spot, 2,400. I think he's a good value play. Definitely, like I said, I like the Cincinnati side of things here. You could go a little bit of contrarian with Pittsburgh. They don't have no bats that really jump out to me, though. There's nobody, they lost their, the Martes, the McCutcheons of a couple years ago. I think that the main guy for them is Josh Bell. Josh Bell is their main threat on offense. You can also throw in Adam Frazier, who's a really, really good hitter. Kevin Newman batting in that 2 spot. Even you can possibly throw in a Brian Reynolds. Polanco, it just hasn't been the same this year, man. He was a guy that, he's played well for the past 3 or 4 years, and I don't know if he just kind of regressed for me a little bit. Maybe he just hasn't had it going. He's kind of a streaky hitter. Even Jared Dyson at the bottom of the order at 2,100. He's one of those guys, if he gets on base, He can get you 1 or 2 stolen bases and kind of rack up some fantasy points right there. But this Pittsburgh lineup as a whole, they're not really too intriguing for me. And DeSclafani, he's a guy that he's shown us in the past that he's a pretty decent pitcher when he's right. So for me, it's the Cincinnati bats is really where I'm at in this game.
This to me, there's 2 things I like about this game. First, it's 90 degrees in Cincinnati. The wind's blowing out to right field. That's number 1. Right. Number 2, you look at DeSclafani, and you said when he's right, he's shown us he's been really good. Problem with that DeSclafani is left-handed bats. You take a look at this lineup that's confirmed. Frazier, left-handed. Okay, you got to deal with Newman, the righty. Josh Bell, switch hitter. He'll bat left-handed. Colin Moran, left-handed. Brian Reynolds, switch hitter. He'll bat left-handed. Gregory Polanco, left-handed. You got Gonzalez in there, and then you're going to get Dyson, another lefty. So I think that from a comfort standpoint, that people are going to look at DeSclafani as that SP2 like on DK. People are going to load up Cincinnati thinking that, this is a good matchup, to be honest with you, for Cincinnati bats going against Williams. Williams is not good. 226 ISO last year to lefties, 232 ISO to righties. I think people, and he hasn't been good this year, right? So I think the chalk is Cincinnati's a stack. I think people will default and fall on DeSclafani as they start building their lineups as a pitcher. And I think Pittsburgh's extremely sneaky in this spot because of the fact that if DeSclafani does struggle, it's typically left-handed bats. He's going to face 7 of them tonight in Cincinnati with the wind blowing out to right field, and it's warm in a small park. I'm really intrigued with that.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, I like Josh Bell the most. He's my favorite batter there. He has the double dog upside. Last game we'll quickly talk about, man. We got Milwaukee going into Chicago to face the Cubs. And, I think this game is going to be a pretty good game. One thing I will say, I've been playing Yu Darvish all year long, and I'm going to continue to play Yu Darvish. It isn't the best matchup against Milwaukee, who definitely has a bunch of hitters right here. So it's not just a home run pick. But hey, the Cubs, what are they? They're 9-2, 8-2 somewhere. I mean, they have absolutely started the new season on fire. This reduced season, their pitching staff is the best pitching staff currently in the majors, and it's been a lot of Yu Darvish pitching very well. So I'll start with the Cubs side of things. I mean, I think you're stacking their main guys. It's 1 through 5 for me. Chris Bryant, Rizzo, Baez, Contreras, Happ. We talked about Happ yesterday. The guy has, some definite power upside. One guy that I think is kind of sneaky that's already confirmed in the lineup is Steven Souza Jr. We know that guy, when he's right, he's a hitter. And he's coming in at a very cheap price tag of only $2,500, batting in that 7th hole. I think he's a guy that you could possibly get in there and feel pretty good. I'm on the Milwaukee side of things. If they can get to Darvish, Darvish has been pretty good. But if they can get to him, I mean, you're looking at Yelich, MVP candidate past couple years, won one already. Yelich, it's Hirua, Smoke, even Evansil Garcia. I think that those are some of the guys. Logan Morrison batting at the bottom of the order at 2,400. He gives us a little bit of pop in that lineup as well. But for me, it's really the Chicago side of things, and then you could throw Yelich in and some kind of one-off spots.
I don't want anything to do with Yu Darvish is by default. You have to get exposure to Yu Darvish today. By default, it's a crappy slate. I keep saying it. It's a crappy slate. But Burns, I mean, let's just look here. 373 ISO to lefties, 240 ISO to righties. I mean, take your pick who you want to load up here. Not to mention the price tag on the Cubs, very fair, very reasonable, especially on FanDuel, where you got Baez and all these guys are under 4,000. And I mean, you got some value with Happ. You got some Contreras is cheap. Schwarber's still cheap, and all these guys can hit bombs. I just want nothing to do with Milwaukee in this spot. The only thing you do with Milwaukee is you take Milwaukee and Pittsburgh and you build a couple of stacks together. You're gonna have to leave money on the table and just maybe you take not DeSclafani, but Arrieta as your pitcher. But by the way, that game's just been delayed, so it's not looking good for that game to go in the first place. So I want nothing to do with it. One last thing I'm going to mention really quick. Go check out the hockey article, Hot Fucking Stacks. I have to throw it out there for Chris. Let me tell you something. This dude, since we brought him on, has killed hockey. And I'm looking at my hockey lineups right now. He told me in a text and put in the article on Hot Fucking Stacks how much he loved Columbus. And I think Columbus is up 2-1. And that was a line of Alexander Wenberg, Alexander Teixeira, and Cam Atkinson. And I believe it's 2-1 already. So there's other slates, I believe. Go read the article. Get some hockey action going because baseball is going to lock in like 15 minutes. Get some late night hockey action going also.
Yeah, for sure. So that's really where we're at for today's slate. If you do want more in-depth analysis, make sure to check out the site, DFSCheatSheet.com. And hey, good luck on your guys' contest tonight, all right? Peace out.